I don't know how to turn that off, so apparently we're going to record that the meeting is being recorded. I guess, well.
Recording in progress.
Martine, welcome.
Okay. Is it better?
I'm no, it's not.
Well,
How about you there you go. And then I'm happy to watch the chat if you've got questions, or you can unmute to ask a question, and then we'll figure that out. But I think just for the sake of, as I present, if you'll keep muted, that'd be fantastic. So, well, I'm delighted to be with you to preview Stewardship for All Seasons and Building a Culture of Generosity. I'll spend a little more time on Building a Culture of Generosity unless you all tell me you're more interested in Stewardship for All Seasons now. But quickly, Stewardship for All Seasons is the year-round program we do. It has a manual that's, I forget, 130 pages. And it is our year-round stewardship program. It focuses on development of a case for what gifts would support. We build the case. We launch the stewardship appeal together. We customize all of your materials in that program through our graphic designer. Walk you through the appeal itself, evaluate the appeal. We work our way into end of year giving. And then as we look at the January through May time period, we set each congregation into a track that they want to take a deeper dive on. And that's a bit of a nuance and a change that we've made to the program. Moving forward, we kind of tested it this year and it worked so well that we're going to definitely move to that. So the tracks that you would engage January through May could be plan giving, could be communication. And by communication, we really mean the way in which you're telling the story of what God's up to in the ministry, not, making a prettier bulletin kind of a thing. And so it's really the outcome story side of that. There's a track on volunteer development. There is an advanced plan giving track that's going to happen this year for people that already have endowment work underway. There's a special gift appeal track. So if you're looking to replace a roof or pave a parking lot, that kind of a thing, we'd walk you through that through a special appeal activity. There's a council development track for people that want their council to be running more effective. That will start with that 5-month period is partially with just the council president, partially with the executive team, and then the last meeting or two is with the entire council to kind of work that way. So during that January through May time, we do meet twice with the stewardship team to make sure that communication is still happening back and any work on the actual financial stewardship side is still taking place even during that January through May time. So it's a deep dive. I think we now have, because we're presenting that totally virtually now. And it turns out to be 9 Zoom meetings on the stewardship piece. That is, and that's not all for the fall drive. And then there's the 5 meetings for the track that you would enter. But we also, in that program, most congregations increase revenue by at least 15%. We've had over 30, 35% in the first year in that program. So again, that's a deep dive, very highly customized. In addition to the group sessions, you have complete access to me to kind of walk through whatever might be going on. That program is very much about shifting the culture around stewardship, shifting the mindset from scarcity to abundance. And our goal is that, over time, the culture is completely shifted to one of abundance. And, it's not as much about money as it is about impact in the ministry and what's taking place in the vision and inviting people into that. The best outcome quote I've ever gotten from that program was from a gentleman in Florida who said, Mike, before we met you and did this program, we talked about money all the time and we didn't have any. And now we rarely talk about money, and we've got more than we've ever had before. And that's precisely what I'm looking for in that program. So I can certainly go into more detail as you have questions about that. The other program is called Building a Culture of Generosity. And Karen, when you were in it last year, it was called Beginning a Culture of Generosity, but people don't like to be beginners. And so now we're building a culture of generosity instead of beginning one. And I didn't have to change the initials. You see what I did there? So we designed it last year in the midst of the pandemic, worried that congregations, it was actually at the behest of 3 bishops told me we should do this, fearful that congregations would just forego a stewardship drive in the midst of pandemic. And so what we did is we launched the program where we created, I think, about 2/3 of the content you need to deliver a stewardship appeal, and then kind of guide you through the other third that you need to build, because the steps to a gift are to inform, inspire, ask, and thank. And it is impossible for me, from my office, to inspire your people, because it's your story, it's the ministry that's taking place in your location. You know the people. I can coach you on how to get there, but I can't do it for you. And so we've created about 2/3 of the material. Everything is presented to you in the material wise in Word document, so you can modify it and adjust it and pretty it up as you wish. That program is delivered through 6 Zoom sessions, along with some video supplements. My team and I just redid all the video. Well, we redid 7 of the 9 videos last month. So the videos are different and updated. All the documents will be updated for this coming year. So the 9 videos we have support the teaching that we want to do. And then the 6 Zoom sessions are designed to be more of a dialogue, so that we're helping implement in different places. So if it's something that can be solved by a video, I do that. But to get into your own context and to learn from other people's context, we do that through the 6 Zoom sessions. Our goal with building a culture of generosity is just that, to begin building a culture of generosity. We do it through the stewardship drive, and we tack on end of year giving. So 35% of giving in the United States happens between Thanksgiving Day and the end of the year. And so we do a November meeting with you to gear you up for how to secure as many gifts as possible as you approach the end of the year. I will also dabble in a little bit of talk about planned giving, because I just can't have people together that want to talk about stewardship and not talk about planned giving. But for the most part, we're walking you through the stewardship drive, walking you through end of year giving. And we think this year might even be a harder year than last to find time for a stewardship drive, just because we're relaunching a bunch of programs that have been dormant for so long. And so once again, we think this program certainly has a place. The 6 Zoom sessions, I will announce the dates soon. And my plan is that there's a morning session, an afternoon session, and an evening session each day. And you all pick, and your entire team does not have to come, but certainly love for the pastors to check out one session, love for a couple of lay people at least to check out another session. And then the work will happen, at your own team meetings, at your own pace. But trying to avoid, if people don't want to have another evening meeting, they can join with me in the morning or afternoon that day. Folks who are tied up during the day can meet me in an evening session. And I'll record them all and send out a recording, so that for people that just can't make the date at all. So that's kind of how we structure that. So 6 Zoom sessions for dialogue, 9 videos for instruction, a document library for access to material that you can then customize to implement in your place. I present a template calendar and teach you how to adjust that calendar if you don't like mine. I played with that today. It looks like my template calendar is going to be the month of October. If you don't like that, you can adjust it. I'm going with the month of October because I want to put some separation between your stewardship drive and end of year gifts. Again, 35% of giving in America happens in that Thanksgiving through end of year time. And I'd like to help you capture as much of that as possible. So building a culture of generosity, my goal was that we'd have at least a 5% growth in revenue. And we easily achieved that. I don't have scientific results for you, and we were in the midst of a pandemic, and so statistics would all be skewed anyway. But I had congregations even increasing more than 15% with that program. And I give you a couple ideas as to how you can even enhance it beyond what I've designed it to be. But I would hope that you would at least grow 5%. And I would say you'll at least grow 5% over whatever your 2019 numbers, even if your 2020 numbers were less than your 2019 numbers. But so I think that's enough of me talking without taking your questions.
Mike, would you repeat what you said about October 10th?
No, I think what I said is my intention is that October will be the month that I give as the template calendar for beginning a culture of generosity, with the ability for you can actually move it up a wee bit, or you could push it back really as far as you wanted to. But my goal is to have that separation between the stewardship drive and end of year gifts. So my hunch is more people will push it later, just because relaunching everything in September, it's going to take some energy. Questions?
So, Mike, how close are the Zoom meetings, and are they tailored to a specific congregation at that Zoom, or is it all congregations that are participating in the program just Zoom in?
So it's the idea for those are group sessions. So all congregations participating in the program with me would be there. And I will launch additional time slots if we get too many people. I don't know what to expect yet for how many congregations I'll have. So right now I'm blocking one day to offer at 3 different times. If I end up with 100 congregations signed up, I'm probably going to block 2 or 3 days with numerous times, because I am not seeking to have 100 people on a Zoom call and try to have a conversation. Last time, I don't think we ever exceeded more than 30 or so. The last time I did have about 100 congregations last year. And I think each session I probably offered 7 times. So, but last year was in a pandemic and we offered it for the first time. I just have no idea what to expect. So no, there will be more dates opened if I end up with more people signed up.
Mike, I wasn't sure if George Rowland shared the results of our appeal.
I feel like I got some results of your appeal. Do you remember what they were?
Oh, I have them in front of me.
Okay.
So our pledges were up 5%. And the average per 9%.
Right.
And we did have a generosity appeal. I'm trying to remember the term for it, for one family who said if we went over the previous year's pledges, they donate $100 for each one. And since we did go over, we were at 84 the year before. And since we had, where am I? To do 89, a gift of $500 was given to the church for that.
Great, thank you, Karen. You cut out a little bit for me on that. Did everybody else catch everything? Okay, no?
No,
Can you repeat
I'm sorry.
real quick?
All right, let me just.
I missed the average.
The internet here. Okay. So our pledges were up 5%,
Okay.
and the average pledge went up 8.9%.
Okay.
And then we did have someone pledge that if we got more than 84 pledges, which we had the previous year, that they would donate 100 for each one. So that was an additional $500 that was donated for that.
Okay, thanks, Karen. I think we got it now.
Did you get all that?
Average pledge up 8.9%. Exceeded my hope for the program.
Mike, is there a how-to book on this program like there is on the seasonal giving?
No, so there's not a manual for this program. There is a website. And I can actually, I'll share my screen here real quick and show you the website. It has not been fully updated yet. So when you join the program, you'll get access to the website, and you can see we've got the document library, which is what you're seeing now. And so you can just go here and download all the different pieces that you would need. And we designed bulletin inserts as both an insert and a mailer, just because we weren't meeting in person so much then. And then you'll see there's a video library that has the different video sessions. We worked to reduce the time of these videos. The first one was almost 13 minutes, and it's not 13 minutes anymore. It's less. So we did work at that. So you've got the video library, it's completely digital format, and then you got the document library available to be able to download everything. And then after each meeting, I sent an email follow-up that includes, key points, as well as a link to the video from the Zoom session, and any other supplemental material that I want people to have that are working with me. So. You do, so the cost for the program is $450, and you get 3 copies of my book with that. My goal is at least the stewardship team would begin to read that. And then, so you get 3 copies of the book, you get access to the website, you get 6 sessions with me. I think that's it. So.
Also, Mike, just to mention that because of the Synod's partnership with building a culture of generosity, the Synod will put in 200 of that 450. So a congregation can register by sending a check for 250 to me at the South Carolina, a check written to South Carolina Synod. Send your check to me at the Synod office, and we'll put another 200 to it, and then we'll pay GSB. So your total cost would be $250 for building a culture of generosity. Stewardship for All Seasons is a little different in pricing, and there the Synod matches 50-50.
So what, either Pastor Ozzie or Mike, what is the, I guess I don't understand fully, does one come before the other, or is it, is it 2 separate programs?
So those are 2 separate programs. So Stewardship for All Seasons technically launched a couple weeks ago, but there is still room for people to get in if they want. I have a drop dead date of August 1st for entering Stewardship for All Seasons. If you miss August 1st, you got to wait till next year. And that would be May of 2022. So Stewardship for All Seasons, we are still enrolling for that if you would want. Building a culture of generosity, they're 2 separate programs. Some people, we launched Building a Culture of Generosity last year because of the pandemic. It was not something we offered. So you have numerous churches in South Carolina that came in through Stewardship for All Seasons. They've had tremendous results. Most of them, I think, are still with us. Ozzie, you can talk more about longevity, but so you can enter in Stewardship for All Seasons and start there, or if you just kind of want to try out a program, Building a Culture of Generosity, I think it's a fine program to begin laying some groundwork of some basics that we will then take to a far deeper level when we get into Stewardship for All Seasons. both programs are designed to grow your overall stewardship revenue, to start to shift some messaging from financial transaction to investment in a ministry, to begin reaching people who are not the top 20% of your givers, who are much more random in their giving, haven't considered their generosity story at all, tend to tune out, might even feel some shame around the topic of stewardship. So we want to begin that in both programs. Stewardship for All Seasons does get into all facets of stewardship, everything that fosters a solid fundraising activity in a congregation, from the way in which your council functions, to the way in which you've got a strategic plan, to the way in which you're doing planned giving, and deeper dive into your communication. Like in building a culture of generosity, you get a 6-minute video of me talking about outcome stories. You'll get a couple of samples. In Stewardship for All Seasons, you get a 5-monthly meeting where you practice and we evaluate and we look at how you're doing storytelling to change the way in which you tell the story of what God is up to in the life of your congregation. So yeah, they're two programs that complement one another, but one is absolutely a deeper dive, while the other, you're beginning to build a culture of generosity with it. So,
Well, at St. Michael, I mean, we just installed Pastors Kyle and Andrea yesterday,
Mhm.
and of course we'd had interim pastor for over for 20 months,
Mhm.
and the stewardship committee, when the seasonal stewardship program was presented, or we talked about it, we all decided we just weren't ready, because we were still going through the call process way back. And so we decided we would not participate in that program this year and give our new pastors time to get their feet on the ground. And so that's what's kind of brought us to here. So Pastor Andrea and Pastor Kyle, y'all can speak a lot better to that than I can, but we didn't want to drown, we don't want to drown you. So.
Well, you said it well, David, but yeah, I would echo that that question sort of timing is, would you, Mike, just knowing that situation, would you recommend starting in the fall with the fall one, or would you just recommend waiting till next year to do the full deep dive?
I think building a culture of generosity could be a great gift to a year when it's going to be nutty getting things launched in the fall, and to still have a solid stewardship program to begin. Not to toot my own horn, the book has been very well received in South Carolina among finance committee chairs as well as stewardship people. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but there's a church treasurer from the Columbia area that says it totally transformed his thinking, which needed to happen. But so I do believe that there is some good, that you will lay some very nice groundwork, and not to have to work as hard on your stewardship drive if you're in the program. Yeah, there's 6 meetings, but at the same time, it's laid out to be very efficient so that you're not spending time in stewardship on things you don't need to be spending time on, which I hear over and over again that, yeah, we required meetings, but it allowed people to let go of things that really weren't helpful and benefiting the overall stewardship health. So I think knowing what you probably have to face to get going in the fall, I think building a culture of generosity could be a great gift to streamline the stewardship process, that you have a good appeal, end up with some more money to do ministry starting into the spring, and then look at the year-round program after that.
Awesome, thanks.
So what's your timeline for us to make a decision?
As long as you let us know by August 16th, we'll give you the credentials to enter the first meeting. You should probably go with an August 1st deadline to sign up. at the same time, if you miss the first meeting, you'll get the recording and you can catch up. That's not a big deal. I would think August 1st would be fine.
Okay, so we got August 1st is our deadline. So when is the first meeting then, after August?
So there will be a meeting on August the 16th. I am going to finalize the calendar the week after, next week someday. I will do it. I'm going on vacation here in about 30 minutes. And as soon as I get back from that, I'm gonna finalize the dates. What I'm looking at, don't quote me on this, but what I'm looking at is that there'll be a 10 a.m. meeting, a 2 p.m. meeting, and a 7 p.m. meeting anytime I offer a meeting date. And I'm pretty confident that August 16th will remain the first meeting, but until next week, I'm still reserving the right to change the calendar a little bit.
And that first meeting is one of those 6 Zooms.
It is. It is.
Okay.
And then how many weeks after that do you meet? Is it once a week for 6 weeks?
No, there's time in between each. So what I would look at would be first meeting in August. Second meeting will not happen until September, and it would be probably September 7th. Then September 27th. So there would be 2 meetings in the month of September. 2 meetings in October, I think. And then 1 meeting in November. Or actually, well, this is where I'm still reserving the right to change things. It might be there's a meeting November 1st and then another one later in November, or it might be late October and then November. So I'm still playing with that. But what I do with those meetings is I stay far enough ahead of you that if you want to speed up the calendar a little bit, you can. And that for those of you on my calendar, you don't feel like I'm rushing. That's the goal with the way I do the spacing of meetings.
So when would we start rolling this out? I guess that's the right terminology, to the congregation.
So the calendar I'm going to give you would have you rolling that out on October 1st. But if you want to move that up a week, if you want to push that back 2 weeks or 2 months, you're free to do that. So my target calendar is going to, well, I just did it this morning. I think I'm going to probably stick with it, is targeting the 5 weeks of October, the 5 Sundays of October as the calendar I present to you. That means intent cards come back on Reformation Day, and I think that's a great day to bring back intent cards. And the sermon can all be about, we could be preaching on indulgences. That raised a lot of money too, but instead we're collecting your intent cards and we want part of your heart. Anyway, I'll work with that on that one later, but.
Okay. So the program, the Building Culture Generosity, I mean, that program is really designed, maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I am, but it's really designed for what we would normally call a fall stewardship campaign. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that we would get our pledges back in time to build our budget for 2022.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
And I'll help you with end of year giving as well.
Okay.
Other questions? Jim, you were part of this last time. Everything is being updated, certainly. We are going to do a bit more on storytelling than we did last time. And we've got a new way of teaching storytelling, which will be the primary thing that changes. And everything's being updated, of course, but and there'll be a couple theme changes as well to enhance some different ideas. So it's very much, I'm going to make it so it's relevant for people to continue and be in again and continue to get better results. So I'm glad you're thinking about doing another year of it.
Okay.
Other questions? Anything? We have had people get Thrivent Action Team grants to cover the other $250. Oftentimes, if it's promoted as an educational activity, you can get that. But I am not here to coach you through that, nor should you ever mention my name to Thrivent. As Mike said, we could get a grant. So, but it is possible, which would reduce your cost to nothing. So. Good. Folks, if, oh, go ahead, Ozzy.
Those congregations interested, send me your registration form with the 250 check and we'll make sure you have a place in BCG in August.
Okay, thank you.
If you have any questions about finance and registration, just use my email and let me know by email or telephone call.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank you. Bye.
Mike.
Bye.
Mhm.
Have a good vacation.
Thank you. I will.